Well, good evening, everybody, and pleased to see so many people here at Rotherham again for the 2010 AGM, and quite a lot of familiar faces I can recognise from previous years as well. So I think the format is pretty much as you've seen it before, but we've changed one thing. Last year, unfortunately, we had to cut short the question time, if you remember those who were here, because we ran out of time at the venue. So this year, we're not having a guest speaker, and that'll free up, a chunk of time that we can use for more questions from the floor. So I'm hoping that works out better. Otherwise, the format will be the same. Shortly, I'm going to hand over to the chairman of the authority, Councillor Andrew Sangar, and he will give a short introduction, and then we'll have the usual presentations from Dave Wilkinson and John Hattersley, who manage the organisation. Then we'll open up to general questions. I think some of you, we invited any questions to come in for John and Dave to take account of in the presentation, so it may be that some of you who've sent in questions will get them answered in what they say, but we'll have the general session later on. There are members of the authority around. I think we've got about 6 or 7 or possibly 8 members of the authority here this evening, and a number of members of staff from the pensions authority as well. So if you've got questions you want to raise and you don't want to raise them in the public session, please get hold of either one of the members or myself or one of the officers from the authority after it's finished. Just a couple of other things to tell you. You might have known what that camera is at the back there. We're actually filming the event tonight so that it can go on the website for people who can't get here in person. So, but it is behind you and it's focused on the table here. It's not focused on you, so it's not picking you, picking your nose or whatever, So, so don't worry about it, and it's just there for it to be on the website. In there, after the event, there is a small demonstration display of fire safety literature, which you may want to have a look at when you're having the buffet later. And I think Joanne's put the survey around. The girls on the desk give me the survey, so please try to fill that in for us and have it back if you can. It helps us in organising the future events. I think that's it. Just general housekeeping then. Toilets. Through there, turn right, and down the corridor in that direction, on the left-hand side, gents first, and then the ladies. There's no fire alarm tests planned, so if the alarm goes off, it's genuine, and the exits are very clearly marked. There's one there, one there, one there, and one at the back as well, I believe. So plenty of safety exits. And I think last thing really, timings. The buffet we've scheduled for 7:15, but it can be adjusted if we did finish early or whatever. And I think the buses, as you've probably been told, leave at 8 o'clock. So there's ample time to have a chat with people after the event's finished. So I think that's enough from me as a start. If I introduce now Councillor Andrew Sangar to give the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rotherham. As you know, we go round the four districts. So we were in Sheffield last year and Barnsley the year before. So I assume next year I'll be seeing many of you in Doncaster. I just wanted to start the evening with just a few words about where we are in the world of pensions. Clearly, pensions reform has been a central theme of the past few years in terms of the previous government. And prior to the general election, we had a widespread debate within government and the media about the cost of making long-term provision for adequate pensions. I think most of you would agree with me that the financial crisis of 2008 brought pensions even more into focus for both the private and the public sectors. But what we've seen in the last year is a tendency by some in the media to portray public sector pension schemes as extravagant, costly to the taxpayer, and in some way out of touch with the modern world. And I would say it's unfortunate that the debate has unfolded in this way. A lot of these comments have been misinformed. Regular headlines in the popular press about gold-plated pensions do no one any favours. Least of all the vast majority of employees and retired people in schemes such as the local government pension scheme, where, as we know, the average pension payment from our pension scheme is around £4,000 a year. Pensions provision is costly, and it will keep increasing as people live longer, which clearly is a good thing. In the last 3 years, for example, the average life expectancy of someone retiring at 65 has increased by a year, 5%, if you like. That means pension liabilities have increased accordingly, and there are only a limited number of ways that the extra commitment can be met. Higher employee or employer contributions, an increase in the retirement age, lower benefits, or the acceptance of increased risk. I think which is just, I mean, clearly the first two I'll come back to, but as that last point is significant. I mean, pension provision is all about risk, and the debate about defined benefit and defined contribution schemes is about transferring the risk from the employer to the employee. Another unhelpful side effect of recent media debate has been the tendency to present defined benefit schemes such as the local government pension scheme as unrealistic. I would have to question why. I mean, surely one of the aims of a modern society should be to give people reasonable certainty that when they reach the end of their working life, they will receive a guaranteed pension that provides a living wage. So defined contribution schemes may reduce costs and the risk carried by employers, but they target the uncertainty onto the pensioner. As you know, the new government asked Lord Hutton to look at all public sector schemes, and we've just had his interim report. Clearly, local government pension scheme was only one of many schemes he was looking at, and there's only 4 pages in his very lengthy report talking about the local government pension scheme. In the spring, we'll have the final version in terms of what he recommends, and that might mean, I would say to you that will almost certainly mean there will be changes to the local government pension scheme, just as over the past 5 years we've had previous changes. So change is nothing new for the local government pension scheme. But I think standing here today, I think it would only be fair to say that we probably will see a move towards career average rather than final salary pension. We will see as higher contribution rates, and we heard the Chancellor talking about that yesterday. And we will see the introduction of cost-sharing arrangements to ensure that the increased benefits are not paid for wholly by the employers. Other than that, as I said, we might see some of the risk being transferred from the employer to the employee. And these are significant changes, and I think it's right for you to be interested in them. But I think, most of the people here are pensioners, and that the big changes are likely to be to the active members and the new joiners rather than current pensioners. I mean, I would hope that the basic framework of the local government pension scheme survives, because in many ways it has been a good scheme, which other public sector schemes should have been aspiring to. I'm sure you'll want to pick up some of these points in questions, but at this stage I think it's very important, as we always do, to have the presentations from Dave Wilkinson and John Hasley in terms of the regular work of the authority, so that you can understand the work the South Yorkshire Pension Authority does on your behalf. And the questions, as I say, will be a mixture in terms of things that have come up from their 2 presentations, plus my notes, plus questions that you've submitted in advance. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think first up is Dave Wilkinson, and I think Dave will be well known to many of you. And Dave heads up the pension administration team, which is quite a big undertaking at Barnsley. And it's his staff who a number of his staff are here tonight. Actually, you had a chance to talk to later on if you need to. When you write in with any queries about your pension arrangements and so on, it's Dave's team that will be answering those queries for you, either over the phone or by letter. So, as the Chairman just said, there's a lot happening on pensions, in particular the LGPS at the moment, and so Dave's going to give you a quick run through in sort of 15-20 minutes on on what is happening and some of those changes that might be on the way. So, Dave, over to you.